Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy back again with a new video. I hope you guys enjoy. Today, we're going to go through our NFL fantasy squad, give you feedback on how we did on the weekend. We did really, really well, so I'm really excited for this. Comment down below how your team did on the weekend, how your favorite NFL team did on the weekend. Obviously, my Carolina Panthers not going well. We're 0-2 to start the season against two very average teams, but it is what it is. We keep moving on. Let's get straight into the video anyway. So the squad this weekend ended up getting the dub, 144.1 points to 91.26 against Team Robinson, who is now 0-2. I am 2-0, baby. First in the Western Division. I'm so excited. It's crazy that our first year of doing content and that for you guys, we are actually doing quite well. So we'll move on to how the team looked over the weekend and who performed really, really well. First of all, we had Patty Mahomes throwing for 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, which end up giving us 17.3 fantasy points. So it was a crazy game against the Chargers. Justin Herbert was pretty unlucky to get injured the way he did, so he wasn't able to finish those last bit of drives. Kansas City and the Chargers always have really close games at the moment. Justin Herbert is definitely a quarterback for the future, and I'm so excited to see how he goes. And Patty, he's going to get better and better. Obviously, he's reversing a really tough defense, in my opinion. 17 points is not too bad. Next, we had Nick Chubb getting 32.3 points. Amazing game for Nick Chubb. Ended up with 87 yards, 3 touchdowns. So Cleveland were using him more as a touchdown back, more so than I was thinking Kareem Hunt was more so that touchdown back they were using at the moment. But Nick Chubb getting 3 touchdowns, amazing game from him against the Jets. Again, like, you know, it is the Jets. They end up losing. Weirdest game ever. You know, every time I kept clicking back and forth because I watch it on Red Zone, I saw the Cleveland Browns usually ahead in that, and then the Jets coming back, and it's just such a weird game, especially for, you know, I thought Cleveland Browns did really well last week to get the win against us to the Carolina. It just shows how bad Carolina are at the moment. Next up, Travis Etienne with 8.3 fantasy points. Not amazing out of him. He only had like 20 yards. Obviously, James Robinson getting most of the reps in that RB1 spot. Travis Etienne is definitely the RB2, but we are finding out that Travis Etienne is more of a passing back. That's where he's going to get his fantasy points as well. Hopefully, he does get a little bit more time there. If not, we may look at trading him out or wavering him to a different squad. But I think at the moment, he's a really, really good option. Good option number 2. 8.3 fantasy points. Not too bad compared to Javonte Williams, who was on the other side with 9.5 points. Javonte, I got a big raps over Javonte, and for Travis Etienne to get like that with a lot less touches is pretty well done for him. Devontae Adams and probably having his worst week with 9.2 points, only finishing the day with 2 receptions, 12 yards, and a touchdown. Like, that game was such a weird game overall. The Raiders and the Cardinals, I couldn't believe what was going on in that game. Obviously, the Cardinals coming out with the win at the end there. So unfortunate for Renfro, obviously getting those two massive fumbles that end up creating that opportunity for the Cardinals to end up winning that game. I thought Kyler Murray in that game was fucking unreal too. So Las Vegas, don't hold your head down. You know, you should keep moving. Like, you should be amazing. Next up, and probably our biggest performer of the weekend, we had Tyreek Hill with 42 fantasy points, finishing the day with 11 receptions, 190 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So watching this game, it was like the Ravens were just taking away, like, my boy Lamar. He had such a good game. They were playing so well. I couldn't believe the Ravens defense, the way they let their Miami Dolphins back into the contest the way they did. Especially for me, I got the Ravens defense here. We only got 2 fantasy points from them. I couldn't believe they even got 2 fantasy points. I know they started the day when I kept checking my fantasy. We were up like 15 fantasy points on like defense. I was like, fuck yeah, like, that's amazing. Next minute, Tyreek Hill just kicks into gear and changes that whole game on its head. So the Dolphins are looking really, really nice this year, especially with those like 2 really quick wide receivers in Waddle and Hill. They're just tearing everything apart. And even our bench tight end, Gostkowski, with 14 fantasy points, did really, really well there. Darren Waller was 17 fantasy points. A lot better game from him than last week. I'm pretty sure he only got like single digits last week, but this one, you know, he's getting a lot more opportunities. Again, with that loss to Arizona is not the best, but they played really well all the way up till like the last quarter in that one, where Arizona, you know, Kyler Murray really just turned it on. But Darren Waller will be better and better, like, you know, and I expect Devontae Adams needs a lot more touches, a lot more receptions, a lot more touches. He can't be getting 9.2 fantasy points for us, especially for our first round pick. Juju, not much to talk about. He's with 4 fantasy points. Didn't really get too many options there with the way the game went. I think the Chargers really held down defensively really well. Moving on to the Ravens with 2. We already spoke about the Ravens there. Tyler Bass coming in massively with 12 fantasy points. That Buffalo kicker, like, to have a kicker for Buffalo at the moment is fucking awesome. It's definitely the best pickup I've thought as a kicker. Also, he's going to get a lot of those extra points, and I'm pretty sure he got a really nice, like, 30 to 40 yard bomb. He's a classy kicker. Great to have him in the squad. So quickly moving on to my bench and a good performance on the bench. We had Derek Carr performing really decently with 18.9 fantasy points. Had a really good game there. I thought he threw really well. I think it just all came apart at the end there. Other than that, Devontae Smith came back out with a great game. I couldn't believe Minnesota lost that like that against the Eagles. The Eagles looked amazing in that game. Jalen Hurts looked awesome. Devontae, amazing connections there. And the Philadelphia freaking defense looked elite in that one. So anyone that's got the Philadelphia defense, well done. They looked really good in that game. But other than that, Robbie Anderson only getting 4.2 points. Khalil Herbert with 5.1. Not too bad in a team that was versing Green Bay. They were never going to win. And they were so unlucky to not get that touchdown on the line there. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a touchdown, but, moving on. And Paul Team Robinson had Aaron Rodgers for 16.3 points there. Jonathan Taylor, which I couldn't believe, only got 7.3 points. Jacksonville really held him down, crazily. I thought they played really well in that contest. Javonte Williams with 9.5. I didn't expect that out of him. His best performance was Aaron Jones, and I thought Aaron Jones played amazing in that game. And they were so unfortunate with the Dolphins defense to get -8 because the Dolphins were getting tore apart in that game until the fourth quarter where Tua, Tyreke, and Waddle just went crazy. Gesicki got all his receptions. They just turned that whole game around, so I couldn't believe that one. So looking at our team for the upcoming matchup, so we got Patty Mahomes versus Indiana. I'm pretty confident on Patty against Indiana. That should be a good matchup there. Nick Chubb versus Pittsburgh. That could be tougher, but then again, without TJ Watt, Pittsburgh could... he could get some really nice rushing touchdowns and stuff and get some really nice yards on the grounds for Nick Chubb. I'm excited for that. Travis Etienne might be moving out, especially with that Los Angeles Chargers matchup. I'm a massive fan of Los Angeles Chargers defense at the moment. I think they're playing elite, so maybe moving him out and bringing in a Khalil Herbert. We'll go into that, especially Khalil versus Houston. I think Khalil's going to have a really good game. I might do that now, actually. Next up, Devontae has got Tennessee, especially the way Tennessee looked on the weekend against the Bills, unfortunately. I think Devontae is going to have a really, really good game against Tennessee. I'm excited to see the points he puts up there. Tyreek versus Buffalo, that's going to be a tough-as game, especially the way Buffalo defended on the weekend, yesterday. Amazing from them. So Tyreek, hopefully he gets really well in that contest. Maybe we do switch him out as well for Devontae Smith. That might be the way to go as well. Darren Waller versus Tennessee as well. I still think a lot of opportunities for that Las Vegas Raiders team against Tennessee. All they have to do is stop the run and getting to good field position and let Derek Carr just sling that ball. Juju versus Indiana is going to be a good matchup as well. So Juju should get a lot more receptions from Patty in that matchup. Defense, I might bring in... I might just leave the Ravens defense in there. I'm not too sure. This might be a late move for me. I'm going to keep looking into the matchups here, but obviously New England haven't got the best attacking team at the moment, especially like this year. I think they're more so defensive team. I think the Ravens will take apart that team. So I'm going to keep the Ravens in there at the moment until I think things change, but Chargers will be my team to go for a little bit later on. I think they're defensively just amazing. I still think that no matter what. Next up, we got Tyler Bass, and Tyler Bass is versus Miami. Hopefully a lot more points coming for Tyler Bass there too. I see that being a very high scoring game, especially after last week's game. And the way Buffalo are playing at the moment, they're playing out of their skin. Josh Allen is killing it. Couldn't believe how good they look at the moment. Both defensively, Von Miller is a freak. He's been a freak for years. He's killed my Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl. I know how good he is, and he's killing it at the moment. And on our bench, Devontae, he might switch in for Tyreek, especially with that Washington matchup. So Devontae's looking good this week. Derek Carr against Tennessee might be a good one there. Gesicki against Buffalo. I don't see too much getting there for Gesicki. Hunter Henry versus Baltimore. I probably wouldn't touch Hunter. Robbie Anderson versus New Orleans. We do go okay against New Orleans. I don't expect us to go really well against New Orleans this weekend, though, especially the way Baker and all that are playing at the moment. I am still a fan of Baker. I think Baker is going to be awesome. I think he's just going to have to take time. And unfortunately, with Carolina, it's just, it's a tough place at the moment. And as I said before, Travis Etienne with Los Angeles Chargers. I'm not too keen on that matchup, but hopefully we go really well on the weekend. Comment down below your thoughts on the weekend, who you got and what your team is looking like. I'm so excited to see how we go. Another week, boys. We are definitely killing it at the moment. Hopefully we continue to be number one in our league. Hope you're all doing well. Peace out.